So Matthew, we're excited.
We're excited. There's a big vote coming. This is a popular vote that is going to decide the outcome of an issue that's been burning away for some time.
Exactly, and a powerful leader is worried that their mandate is slipping through their fingers. We're talking about Alliance Trust.
Yes.
And Catherine Garrett Cox, who runs that almost £3 billion investment trust. Who's challenging her and why?
The challenge is coming from Elliott, the European arm of the US hedge fund, a hedge fund that has gone as far as taking over an Argentinian naval vessel with 200 sailors. That's how ruthless these hedge fund investors are.
They're pretty tough. We can agree on that. But what we can't agree on is who ought to win this vote. Because the way I see it, what they're doing here is a lot more modest. All they're doing is putting up 3 directors, independent ones supposedly, to try and give Alliance Trust, which has been a bit sluggish, a bit of a kick in the seat of the pants. What's wrong with that?
We're talking about an institution that's been around for 127 years. It's delivered 48 consecutive years of dividend increases. It's part of the fabric of British society. It's got 50,000 small investors.
And it's as much a part of the fabric of Dundee as Duke, Jam and journalism. But the problem with it is it's pretty sluggish, isn't it? I mean, if you look at ISS, which is a shareholder advisory service, very objective, they've looked at the performance. They say it's lagged over 3 and 5 years. It's about 35% down against its comparatives. This is just a complacent management that really needs shaking up, isn't it?
One person's sluggish is another person's steady as she goes.
And I suppose you could also say that one person's high pay is a reasonable return on hard work for Catherine Garrett Cox. That would be her argument, because she's very much in the firing line here, isn't she? She's created quite a big empire around Alliance Trust, and that's created costs, and that's one reason they haven't done so well.
Yeah, costs are a factor, but the costs are always a factor when you're running a very, very big fund. And you've got to bear in mind that there's also a wonderful share dealing and ISA administration service that Alliance Trust offers as well. You know, that takes money to operate. It's tremendous value for money. It's one of the best in the business.
Well, I don't think I buy it, Matthew. I think really what they should do is to put the investment management out to tender. They can cut costs that way. They could sell off these diversifications, which I don't think are appropriate to an investment trust. And it seems to me that these directors probably are going to be quite independent, because the rest of the board will see to that.
How can they be independent when they've been selected by headhunters appointed by Elliott? These are Elliott's own selections. These are Elliott's place people who are going to come in and they're going to look to narrow the discount, the difference between the value of the assets that Alliance holds and the share price, very quickly, and then they're going to head off for Argentina, back to the United States, or wherever. They're not going to be in Dundee for very long.
That's the nub of the problem, isn't it, for a lot of people, because the question of whether these really are independent directors and whether they are simply there in order to sell a lot of the assets of Alliance Trust and give a big capital return to a few shareholders who maybe aren't there for quite the long term, where we're talking about 10 or 20 years at a time of the private investors. But it seems to me, you and me, we're not going to decide, are we?
This is a popular vote. It will be decided by these tens of thousands of small investors, and polling day is looming.
Yeah, well, it's April the 29th, I think.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to that. I think there's some other vote going on just after that, but it's going to be an anticlimax.
I'm keeping my eye on your swingometer.